Stop right there before you step into Wetherspoons. Your favorite value meal might be a risk you don't see coming. Staff struggles, dirty kitchens, and rushed reheats spell disaster for certain menu picks. Some are so risky, they've caused serious food poisoning complaints. We've uncovered the truth from the inside out, exposing 7 items loaded with hygiene shortcuts and health hazards. Tune in to protect your well-being or stay blind and hope for the best. What you don't know can hurt you. Ice cream sundaes. Let's start with something that seems completely harmless. The ice cream sundaes. Perfect for kids after a meal, or a sweet finish to your pint. You might think, it's just a dessert. What harm could there be? But multiple former Wetherspoons employees have confessed that these machines are rarely cleaned properly, if at all. One worker from a London pub revealed their ice cream machine only got a deep clean once every few months, despite churning out dozens of servings daily. That's non-stop use from breakfast crowds to late-night punters. Ice cream machines are perfect breeding grounds for bacteria. If neglected, sticky residue builds fast in the augers and hoppers. They actually require daily cleaning of some parts and weekly deep cleans of the internal mechanisms. Yet the reality is far from that. Rush staff skips it to handle drink orders. The problem compounds during the summer months, when demand peaks and machines run constantly without breaks. Staff describe sticky buildup coating the internal parts, creating layers of old dairy residue that never fully get addressed. The same employee found mold inside the dispensing parts during a rare proper cleaning. Visible mold, not just some residue, lurking where you'd least expect it in those tight tubes and hoppers. This isn't an isolated issue either. Health inspections have flagged multiple pubs for ice cream hygiene failings over the years, citing blocked lines and grimy interiors that harbour listeria. Customers sometimes notice off tastes but blame the flavour. The texture can be off, too grainy or separated, a sign that ingredients have been sitting too long at improper temperatures before serving. And there's more. The toppings, chocolate sauce bottles, sprinkles, and wafer biscuits are often left out at room temperature for entire shifts. Staff admitted to using bottles opened for months without expiry checks or fridge storage. One worker even found chocolate sauce that had been in service for over 3 months, squeezed and stored repeatedly without proper attention, turning thick and suspicious with odd lumps. Sprinkle containers get contaminated with fingers dipping in throughout service, cross-contaminating between different orders and exposing the contents to whatever staff have been handling. So every time you order one of those sundaes, there's a real risk you're getting a side of bacterial contamination along with your strawberry sauce. Think twice next time you see that on the menu. Curry Club. Ah, the infamous Curry Club. Thursday nights, cheap as chips, packed pubs full of punters chasing flavour on a budget. A British staple that draws crowds weekly for that tikka masala fix. But beneath that affordable curry lies a story few customers know about. The chicken in those curries? It often arrives pre-cooked and frozen in massive bags from suppliers. Nothing unusual for a big chain serving thousands. But the reheating process is where things really fall apart. Instead of a steady simmer on the stove like you'd imagine at home, these curries get zapped in a microwave. The result? Pieces of meat that are scorching hot on the edges, but barely warm in the middle, stuck right in the danger zone where bacteria thrive at 5 to 60 degrees Celsius. Microwaves don't heat evenly, leaving cold pockets perfect for growth. Reports from former staff reveal that sometimes the same batch of curry gets reheated multiple times throughout the day as it fails to sell. Fresh batches? Rarely during peak hours when queues build. You're often eating curry that's been through the microwave more than once, a bacterial time bomb ticking away, quality dropping with each zap. The sauce separates, oil pools on top, and meat becomes rubbery with each subsequent heating cycle. Staff describe curry pots sitting in holding trays for hours, occasionally getting topped up with fresh portions to stretch the batch further. And then there's the rice. Rice can carry Bacillus cereus spores, a bacterium that causes food poisoning if not handled correctly. Cooked rice needs to be kept hot above 63 degrees or chilled fast below 8. But at Wetherspoons, leftover rice often sits out at room temperature for hours, or even overnight in containers, before getting microwaved again. NHS warnings about reheated rice exist for this exact reason. Spores survive cooking and multiply in that warm spot, leading to fried rice syndrome. The symptoms hit fast, violent vomiting, and diarrhea within hours of eating. leaving victims doubled over in agony, wondering what went wrong. Multiple customers have reported food poisoning after these meals, with vomiting and cramps occurring hours later. While pinpointing the cause exactly is tricky, the pattern is clear. Reheated meat, dodgy rice storage, and microwave shortcuts spell trouble. If you want my advice, steer clear of the Thursday curry club. Your gut will thank you. Full English breakfast. A proper British classic. Bacon, eggs, sausages, the lot. But here's what nobody tells you about how it gets made at Wetherspoons. Everything except the eggs arrives pre-cooked and frozen. Bacon frozen, sausages frozen, mushrooms frozen, tomatoes frozen, hash browns frozen, even black pudding. The quality drops dramatically when everything relies on reheating rather than fresh cooking. You lose that proper texture and flavour that makes a fry-up special. Former kitchen staff described the breakfast rush as total chaos. Dozens of orders hit at once. And just a couple of microwaves humming, staff racing to plate up. Items come out cremated on the outside but cold in the middle. Sausages especially. Pork needs 75 degrees Celsius inside to kill salmonella and listeria. But in the rush, they often don't hit it. One employee confessed to serving sausages straight from the microwave without proper checks, just to keep the line moving. It's a gamble every weekend breakfast rush. Managers push speed over safety, with ticket times monitored closely and staff pressured to get plates out in under 10 minutes regardless of proper cooking procedures. Eggs are fried fresh, but even they have issues. Health inspections cite pubs for storing eggs at room temperature during busy spells, not refrigerated as they should be. Raises salmonella risk big time. Some staff admit to leaving egg trays out overnight to avoid delays in service, which only worsens the problem. The longer eggs sit warm before cooking, the higher the bacterial risk. Cracked eggs sitting exposed become perfect breeding grounds for contamination. Containers tell another story. The same trays holding yesterday's bacon get refilled today with barely a rinse. Grease builds up, food bits linger, and bacteria festers. One worker found trays untouched for weeks, just quick washes. It's a hygiene fail that multiplies risks. Cross-contamination between raw and cooked items happens constantly when staff reuse containers without proper sanitization protocols. Mushrooms are the worst. Frozen, microwaved, then sat under heat lamps, turning grey and slimy. Customers report mold spots. Viral photos show it clear as day. The texture is off-putting, and the smell is sometimes sharp with decay. Beans get scorching hot on top, while cold underneath, and tomatoes collapse into watery mush that spreads across the plate. Skip breakfast, nurse a coffee instead. Fish and chips. A British institution, but at Wetherspoons, it comes with some serious warnings. The fish arrives frozen, pre-battered, ready for the fryer. That's standard enough. But the big problem is the fryer oil. Records show it often gets changed no more than once a week, despite being used non-stop. Overused oil breaks down chemically and becomes a health risk. Worse, it becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, which is hardly what you want on your plate. The oil turns dark brown, almost black, smoking heavily and leaving a rancid aftertaste on everything cooked in it. Cross-contamination is another major issue. The same fryer is used for fish, chicken, onion rings, chips, you name it, all day long with minimal cleaning. One former employee, allergic to seafood, reported reactions simply from handling chips cooked in that oil. Allergen protocols get ignored completely when everything shares the same cooking space, putting customers with sensitivities at serious risk without proper warnings. Then there are the chips themselves. Frozen, sure, that's normal. But staff have confessed to dropping chips on the floor during busy periods and putting them right back into the fryer. The infamous 5-second rule apparently lives on behind the scenes. Managers look the other way when waste threatens to cut into profits, creating a culture where shortcuts become standard practice. Storage conditions aren't much better. One shocking account detailed bags of frozen chips stored directly on the freezer floor, the same floor staff walk on all day, including in and out of the toilets. Hygiene standards appear to slip in storage, as well as preparation. Freezer organization is chaotic at best, with raw and cooked items mixed without proper separation. And the mushy peas? They're a powder mix, reconstituted with hot water, yet staff often don't heat or store them properly, leaving a lukewarm mush, more fit for bacteria than eating. The powder sits open for months, exposed to moisture and contamination in storage areas that lack proper sealing. Multiple viral complaints show fish and chips that are grey, limp, or still frozen inside. One video even shows a piece of fish breaking open to reveal the center icy cold. That's not just poor cooking, it's a real health hazard and risk of food poisoning. Skip this one if you value your dinner and your health. Burgers. Burgers seem safe enough, right? Just a patty on a bun, how bad can it be? But at Wetherspoons, former staff reveal a different story. Patties arrive frozen and pre-seasoned in bulk packs from distant suppliers, cooked straight from frozen on the grill. But rushed service means they often come out pink in the middle. Beef needs 75 degrees Celsius throughout to be safe, yet multiple customers complain of bloody centers that scream undercooked, raw enough to spot E. coli risk. The grill temperature fluctuates wildly during peak hours, never properly calibrated, meaning consistent cooking becomes impossible. One staff confession hits hard. Prep areas soaked in raw meat juice, surfaces wiped, but not properly sanitized between batches. Same gloves handle raw patties, then assemble the burger, straight bacteria transfer to your bun and toppings, no time for changes. Cutting boards shared without proper washing too. Hand washing gets skipped entirely when orders pile up, with staff moving straight from raw meat handling to ready-to-eat assembly without breaking stride. Lettuce sits out at room temperature all shift, wilting fast under heat lamps. Tomatoes pre-sliced hours earlier, uncovered and sweating moisture. Onions, same deal, diced early and left exposed to air. One worker found slimy tomatoes left overnight in the fridge door, still served the next day to speed things up, despite the off smell. Preparation happens during quiet morning hours, meaning ingredients sit deteriorating for 8 to 10 hours before hitting your burger during evening rushes. Cheese slices stack unrefrigerated during rushes, saves fridge trips, they say. Melted onto potentially raw meat, with veg gone soft and dodgy, creating a warm, moist environment for growth. Bacon toppings get reheated multiple times throughout service, curling and hardening with each microwave blast. Buns toasted on the same grill surface, raw juices lingering without proper cleaning between orders. Health reports cite this exact cross-contamination at several locations, flagging bacterial transfer risks from raw to ready to eat. The assembly line pressure means no pauses for hygiene. Odds aren't worth it. Skip the burger. Chicken dishes. Chicken dishes at Wetherspoons. Strips, burgers, breaded bits. A masterclass in worry. Everything arrives frozen and pre-cooked in giant supplier bags, stacked high in freezers. But the reheating? Staff describe pulling chicken from the fryer, or microwave scalding outside, cold or barely warm inside. Chicken demands 75 degrees Celsius throughout for salmonella safety, yet rushed kitchens rarely deliver. Probes rarely used, just visual checks on color and feel. One ex-employee revealed instructions to cut cooking times during peaks. Take it out early, before the timer finishes. Close enough, managers told them to hit order targets and avoid complaints. Multiple staff confirm this. Speed over safety every busy night, with quotas looming. Digital timers get overridden manually, with staff pulling items out 30 seconds to a minute early, just to keep pace with incoming orders. Cross-contamination ramps up worse here than with beef. Raw chicken juice soaks surfaces. No glove changes between handling. One account, gloves straight from frozen raw chicken to sandwich assembly. Slapping toppings on without a wash or swap. Utensils shared too. Tongs dipping into raw and then cooked piles. The same cutting boards serve raw chicken prep and final sandwich assembly within minutes of each other. Health inspections hit numerous pubs for poor chicken procedures. Thermometers unused, broken, or readings ignored entirely. Staff couldn't name safe temps when inspectors asked. Basic training gaps exposed, with some admitting 2-day orientations at most. Some locations have thermometers that haven't been calibrated in years, giving wildly inaccurate readings that staff trust blindly. Storage bins are grim. Cleaned with quick rinses under pressure, mold grows inside despite national standards. Photos from workers show it. Fuzzy patches on lids and corners, still in daily use for portions that end up on plates. Bins get reused immediately after rinsing, still wet, and creating humid conditions perfect for bacterial growth. Portioning adds risk, too. Raw chicken thawed sloppily, juices dripping everywhere. Defrosting happens at room temperature rather than in refrigeration, leaving meat in the danger zone for hours before cooking. Never touch chicken here. It's a salmonella lottery you don't want to play. Drinks and beverages. Everyone talks about food, but drinks deserve a closer look at Wetherspoons. Soft drink dispensers mix syrup with fizz for your Coke or lemonade. Supposed to be cleaned regularly, but ex-staff confess nozzles breed mold and bacteria with just quick rinses. Sticky buildup ignored in the rush. The syrup attracts fruit flies and other pests, creating visible contamination around dispensing areas that customers rarely notice. One worker found black mold around ice and drink nozzles at their pub. Not residue, actual growth, unchecked for months in those tight crevices. Health reports cite multiple locations for filthy dispensers, flagging syrup lines clogged with gunk and biofilm layers. The tubing inside contains slimy bacterial films that flavour every drink passing through, giving an off taste that customers attribute to the brand rather than contamination. Ice machines? Same story. Need regular deep cleans, but often skipped entirely. One account, machine untouched for over 6 months. Ice contaminated daily from stagnant water trays harbouring algae. The ice scoops get dropped on floors and used without washing, transferring whatever bacteria staff have picked up throughout their shifts directly into customer drinks. Cleaning chemicals add risk. Dispensers wiped with sanitizers, not rinsed properly. Trace chemicals end up in drinks. Staff tasted residue themselves after rush jobs, bitter aftertaste lingering. The cocktail of cleaning agents and old syrup creates concerning chemical combinations that nobody monitors. Coffee's worse. Machines pump hundreds daily. Milk frothers caked with dried residue. Bacteria heaven in the wands. Drip trays neglected, overflowing with old grounds and milky sludge. The steam wands harbour scalding bacterial soup that gets blasted into each latte and cappuccino without proper purging between uses. Milk jugs were left at room temperature through shifts for speed. Bacterial playground once warm, doubling every 20 minutes. Staff use the same jug for hours, topping it up rather than starting fresh, meaning the milk at the bottom could be 4 or 5 hours old by closing time. Customer sickness after coffee matches the pattern. Poor kit, wrong temps, rushed cleans. Even pints aside, drinks carry risks. Staff try hard under pressure, but volume wins. Tea bags stored in humid conditions turn mouldy, and hot water urns develop limescale buildup that never gets properly descaled. Wetherspoons, as a chain, runs on razor-thin margins, minimal staff training, and crazy volume. That's not a judgment, it's their business model laid bare. High staff turnover means anyone you get behind the bar or in the kitchen is often new, rushed, and juggling pressure you wouldn't believe. Those experienced veterans who know the proper food safety routines, they rarely stick around. Records show that poor temperature control, cross-contamination, expired ingredients, and rushed cleaning are recurring across locations, with hundreds of reports yearly. The company prioritizes expansion and competitive pricing over investing in better equipment, more staff, and comprehensive training programs that would actually address these systemic problems. The reality is that fresh is a marketing word here. Frozen, microwaved, and reheated food dominates, sometimes served barely properly heated. Customer complaints and health inspections expose shocking hygiene slips constantly. You're not being paranoid. These issues come from millions served weekly, undercutting quality for speed. The business model simply cannot sustain proper food safety standards while maintaining the price points that draw customers in. So where does that leave you? If you want to stay safe, play it smart. Skip the food, nurse a pint. Visit off-peak times like weekday lunch. Remember, good toilets, friendly staff, and clean lines matter more than the menu price. Look around before ordering. If the tables are sticky and the floors are grimy, the kitchen conditions are likely worse. You're cool, but now you know the truth.